The chandelier crashed down as cold, blue faces floated above the hotel pool. Emma grabbed Jack's sleeve. The ghosts of the abandoned Disneyland Hotel circled them, singing a song that sounded like old ride music but with a sad, hollow echo. A little boy in a faded mouse shirt pointed at Emma and smiled. The water began to bubble, and letters formed on the surface. "Stay." Emma screamed, but her voice was absorbed by the thick, dusty air. Then a hand, translucent and... What happened next? The lights went out. Before that terrible moment, everything had seemed normal. Emma and Jack were two friends who loved adventure. Emma was brave and quick. Jack was careful and clever. They had heard the hotel was closed forever, left to rust after a strange fire years ago. People in town said the hotel was spooky. Some said they heard music at night. Others said the paint changed color when no one looked. Emma wanted to see it for herself. Jack did not want to go at first. They sneaked in through a broken side door on a bright Saturday. The lobby smelled like old popcorn and rain. Sunlight came through smashed windows and made dust dance like tiny fairies. A giant clock hung on the wall, frozen at 11 o'clock. Broken posters of smiling people decorated the walls. The carpet was patterned like clouds. A fountain in the center had been drained long ago, but it still held a thin shine of water. At first, the hotel felt lonely more than scary. Emma and Jack walked past empty gift shops and dusty arcade machines. A plush mouse toy lay on the floor, its ear torn. Emma picked it up and whispered, "We should leave this place better than we found it." Jack smiled and pocketed his flashlight. They climbed a grand staircase that led to the second floor. The rooms were tall and full of cobwebs. A soft wind moved the curtains. They found a small theater with rows of red seats. A poster said, "Welcome to Magic Nights," and the paint was peeled like old birthday cake. Jack sat on a seat and tested the armrest. Suddenly, far away, a piano played one key, then another, slow and wrong. The sound came closer. Emma's hair stood up on her arms. They thought maybe a storm had started outside, or maybe the old speakers still worked. Then the theater doors slammed shut without a touch. Their flashlights flickered. Emma tried the handle, but it would not open. The piano keys kept playing, faster now, like a heartbeat. Jack found a side door and flung it open. Cold air whooshed in, smelling like rain and melted candy. When they stepped out into the lobby, the pool water had letters on it. Emma stared in horror while Jack's breath made clouds. The letters glowed brighter, lifting off the water like tiny ghosts. The pool began to bubble harder, and a shape rose from its center. The shape rising from the bubbling pool grew taller, stretching like smoke trying to form a person. Emma grabbed Jack's hand, but just as the ghostly figure began to take a full shape, a loud metallic snap echoed across the lobby. The floor trembled under their feet. One of the giant ceiling beams cracked straight down the middle, and pieces of old plaster rained down like dusty snow. Emma pulled Jack back a second before the beam crashed into the ground, splitting the floor tiles. A rush of icy wind circled them again, blowing their hair sideways. The ghostly shape suddenly fell apart into drifting pieces of blue mist, like it had been scared away by something even stronger. The lobby went quiet. Too quiet. Before they could understand what they had seen, the lights flickered. The big frozen clock on the wall ticked once, an impossible, sharp, loud tick, and then everything went still again. They backed slowly into the hallway leading to the hotel's old restaurant. The air became warmer the farther they walked, and the strange chill from the lobby faded. Jack's flashlight worked again, but the beam was weak. Emma felt the floorboards creak under her shoes, but this time it wasn't in a creepy way, it just felt like an old building settling. "This place is weird," Jack whispered. "We came to explore, remember?" Emma said, trying to sound brave even though her heart was pounding. Inside the abandoned restaurant, everything looked frozen in time. Tables were set with dusty plates, and menus still sat on stands. A jukebox leaned in the corner, its paint peeling. Emma brushed dust off one of the plates and laughed softly. "Imagine eating here," she said. Jack didn't answer. He was looking toward the kitchen door. It was slightly open. He pushed it, and it swung inward with a long creak. The kitchen was dim but calm. Pots hung from crooked hooks. A broken soda machine dripped one slow drop of water onto the counter. Emma peeked into the walk-in freezer and saw nothing but frost on the walls. For a few minutes, the hotel felt almost normal again. No strange sounds. No cold wind. No glowing messages in the pool. Just an old, empty building. Emma and Jack wandered into a hallway lined with framed photos. Families smiling. Kids in Mickey ears. Couples hugging in front of fireworks. It felt peaceful. Sad but peaceful. Emma reached up and straightened a crooked picture frame. That was when the soft humming started. At first, they thought it was the air vents. But the sound grew clearer, a quiet melody, like a lullaby mixed with theme park music. It floated through the hallway, warm and gentle. Not scary at all. In fact, it sounded like someone comforting a child. Emma followed the sound around the corner, and gasped. A little girl in a white dress stood at the end of the hall. She wasn't glowing. She wasn't floating. She looked almost real. Her hair was long, and she held a small stuffed rabbit. She hummed the tune while rocking slightly on her heels. Jack froze. Emma whispered, "Hello, are you lost?" The girl stopped humming. Slowly, she lifted her head. Her eyes were not normal. They were silvery and still, like mirrors. The corners of her mouth twitched upward, just a tiny bit, almost a smile. Then, without warning, every picture frame on the wall tilted at the same time, making a sharp clicking noise. The girl blinked once. And the hallway lights behind Emma and Jack shut off all at once, leaving them trapped in a sliver of flickering light with the silent, silver-eyed child staring straight at them. The light flickered so fast that Emma and Jack couldn't tell if the girl was getting closer or if it was just their eyes playing tricks on them. The air around them grew colder, but not like before. This cold felt tight, like invisible hands pressing gently on their shoulders, urging them not to move. Emma swallowed hard. "Jack, don't run," she whispered. Jack didn't answer. He couldn't. His voice felt stuck somewhere between his chest and his throat. The silver-eyed girl tilted her head. Her stuffed rabbit dangled loosely from her hand. She blinked again, slowly, and when her eyes opened, the soft humming returned. Except now, it was coming from the walls. From the ceiling. From somewhere behind them. It echoed through the hallway like a music box trapped inside the building. Then came the moment Emma would remember for the rest of her life. The little girl's feet lifted an inch off the floor. She wasn't standing anymore, she was floating. Before Emma or Jack could breathe, the girl raised her arm and pointed her stuffed rabbit directly at them. The hallway lights snapped fully on with a loud pop, blasting the space with bright white. At that same second, the girl vanished, gone in a blink, as if she had never been standing there at all. The silence that followed was huge. Emma leaned against the wall, shaking. "We have to leave, Jack. This place is not normal." But just as they turned to run, something changed. The framed family photos lining the hallway began to shimmer. Colors brightened. Dust fell away. One by one, each photo came alive. In one picture, a boy sat on his dad's shoulders, but now he waved happily at Emma and Jack. In another, a family eating ice cream turned their heads and smiled. Emma stepped back as dozens of tiny moments from the hotel's past replayed in the frames like little living memories. "It's like the hotel is waking up," Jack whispered. The photo's smiles suddenly froze. Every face inside every frame snapped to look directly at them. Emma yanked Jack's arm. "Run!" They sprinted down the hallway, their footsteps thudding against the old carpet. The lights flickered wildly above them. Doors on both sides of the hall shook violently as if someone, or something, was trying to open them from inside. The humming grew louder and faster, overlapping with itself like 100 voices mumbling at once. They burst into the main lobby again, breathless. But the lobby wasn't empty anymore. Dozens of faint ghostly figures stood around the drained fountain, men, women, children. Their faces were pale blue, their eyes hollow. Some looked sad. Some looked confused. All of them turned as Emma and Jack stumbled in. Jack whispered, "They're everywhere." Emma took a shaky step back, but the floor beneath her boots shifted with a low rumble. She looked down and saw something rising through the cracked tiles, a glowing shape pushing upward like a trapped balloon forcing its way out. The ghost slowly backed away from the fountain, as if giving space to whatever was emerging. A tall figure broke through the floor. It wore an old hotel bellhop uniform, torn and dusty, and its eyes glowed with the same silver light as the little girl's. It lifted its hand and pointed directly at Emma, and the entire hotel shook hard enough to knock both her and Jack off their feet, just as everything went pitch black. The darkness felt thick, like a blanket wrapped around Emma and Jack. They couldn't see each other. They couldn't see the lobby. They couldn't even see their own hands. But they felt the hotel shaking beneath them, groaning like something alive and angry. Jack's voice broke through the dark. "Emma, are you okay?" I think so." Emma reached out blindly until her fingers brushed his sleeve. "Don't let go." A cold breeze swept past them, carrying whispers. The voices were soft at first, like faraway echoes. "Help us, stay, don't leave." Emma's heart pounded. "Jack, they're talking." Before Jack could answer, a bright blue spark lit the darkness. Then another. And another. Tiny glowing orbs floated upward like fireflies until the whole lobby glimmered in a dim, ghostly glow. The bellhop figure stood exactly where the light had last shown him. Its uniform looked older now, almost torn apart by time, and its silver eyes didn't blink. Emma felt frozen in place, like those eyes were pulling her forward. But something new happened. The other ghosts, the families around the fountain, slowly stepped between Emma and the bellhop, forming a protective circle. Their faces weren't angry anymore. They looked worried. Almost afraid. Jack whispered, "Why are the other ghosts scared of him?" Emma shook her head. "I think he's not like them." The bellhop raised his arm. The floor cracked again. The blue lights flickered harder, as if trying to hold the darkness back. The other ghosts stretched their arms toward Emma and Jack, guiding them, pushing them, trying to make them move. And for the first time, Emma realized. The ghosts weren't trying to trap them. They were trying to save them. A deep vibration rolled across the floor. Tiles split open, forming a jagged path leading to a hallway Emma and Jack hadn't explored yet. The hotel's basement staircase stood at the end of it, old and broken, but still open. The ghosts pointed toward the stairs. Jack gasped. "They want us to go down there?" Emma looked at the bellhop. He had begun to float an inch above the tiles, his head tilting unnaturally to the side. Cracks in the floor spread outward from where he hovered, like he was breaking the hotel from the inside. "Yes," Emma said. "They want us away from him." She pulled Jack toward the basement hallway. The moment they moved, the bellhop slammed his hand down. A blast of cold air shot across the lobby, knocking over furniture and sending dust clouds spinning like tornadoes. But the circle of ghosts held firm, even as the air pushed against them, bending their transparent shapes. The bellhop let out a low, rumbling sound, not a human voice, not even close. The lights dimmed again. He drifted closer, his silver eyes never leaving Emma. Emma and Jack ran. Their feet pounded down the long hallway. Paint peeled off the walls as they passed, curling in the wind behind them. The humming returned, louder and broken, as if the hotel itself was glitching. Doors along the hall burst open with loud bangs, slamming into the walls. They reached the basement stairs. Emma shined her weak flashlight down. The staircase was old concrete, lined with pipes. A faint orange glow flickered at the bottom, like candlelight moving gently. But before they could start descending, a loud crash exploded behind them. Emma spun around just in time to see the bellhop figure appear at the mouth of the hallway, his shape flickering like static on a broken TV. He lifted one hand. The entire hallway behind him twisted like melting plastic. And he floated straight toward them.